Karin Wilson Edmonds from Banyan Tribe Wellness and Yoga. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays. We're here again with Rachel Hernould, who's a personal trainer, and we're going to be continuing our talk really on personal training, wellness, food, diet, all kind of health-related topics. Well, I must ask you this too. I have been to many gyms in my time, worked with different trainers and gone to classes. And I think I've told you this before, but I've been in classes where the trainers are like, okay, we're going to do 50 reps of this, and you have to do it as fast as you can. And they walk around and they're like, come on, move faster, move faster. And I mean, it just feels really wrong to me. I refuse to do it at this point. I'm just like, no, I'm going to do 10 at my pace. I mean, don't you find, as you said, you kind of have to know, like 50 reps of something going as fast as you can cannot be a good idea, right? I mean, or is that ever a good idea? I don't know.
Well, I don't want to discount any trainer that's out there. And I think that because of your professional knowledge, you know what is right and what's wrong, but there's so many people who don't. I would like to say, as a standard in the fitness industry, particularly in a class setting, that if you're doing some form of strength training, you're not generally going over 8 anywhere to 20 repetitions, and 20 is pretty high on
of anything.
Okay. Unless you're doing lunges. Abdominals, maybe you would get away with a little bit more. The only thing that you would be doing maybe high reps of is a interval, a cardio interval. So say you're doing jumping jacks, maybe you're doing 50 jumping jacks, but I have to tell you, even that sounds like a really high number as well. So again, informing yourself and getting knowledge is so important. And it's there now, it's there for the taking.
Because the point is, you don't need to be doing 30 reps of something, right? With the right weight, you're going to get what you need by doing 10 to 12 or 15 reps.
You're get more of what you need.
As long as they're challenging. And
your form is good.
Okay.
12 to 15 reps of a good challenging weight. The last 3 to 4 reps are getting hard. Good form is going to get you much more than something that's super light that you're just kind of throwing the weight up and down for 30 reps.
Okay, I like what you just said. I think that's really important. The last 3 to 4 reps should be hard. Because a lot of times people don't know what weight to use. So that's a good rule of thumb, right? Use a weight where the last 3 or 4 reps are difficult.
Well,
is that a good rule of thumb?
It is a good rule of thumb, but you also have to keep in mind that even when you do 30 reps of something, after a while, it's going to get hard.
Yeah.
It's going to start to burn. You're going to get that lactic acid, but it's a little different, that lactic acid burn, to a muscular strength feeling of this is hard. And it's pretty easy to tell apart. So
what, wait, the lactic acid feels what, more...
Like more of a sharp burning feeling.
Yeah, I kind of know what that feels like.
Versus, you're doing a bicep curl and it's now getting hard to lift the weight to your shoulder.
Right, but it's not necessarily burning.
It's not necessarily burning.
Right.
Exactly.
So do you stop when it's burning, or you keep going through the burn, or what? Because, I don't know if it's so easy to keep going through the burn,
that's
right?
That's a difficult one to say. I guess it really depends on how hard you want to work and how far you're willing to go. I would say for general population, intense lactic acid is really not necessary.
It's not necessary. You can still get the benefit without...
It's not necessarily a sign that the exercise is a good exercise either.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So we don't necessarily have to push through that lactic acid burn to get the benefit, right?
Absolutely not.
Great. Okay, so let's talk for a few minutes about injuries. If you have an injury, if something starts to hurt, if you're recovering from sprained ankle, should you not be working out until you're fully healed? Can you start to do gentle things? A lot of people have back issues, neck issues, shoulder issues, arthritis, especially for, I don't want to say us older ladies, but for us older ladies, you start to get things going on with the body after a while where it makes people a little nervous to be doing various things. How do you deal with those kind of injuries? Or I don't want to call them injuries, challenges.
Right. Injury is such a broad thing. It covers such a huge spectrum of things.
That's true.
I would recommend, if somebody has, I would say, a serious or semi-serious injury, to get professional. Now, this is where the internet is not your friend. You need to have professional help as to what you can and can't do, unless you really are very knowledgeable about your body and what you can and can't do. I would say that having professional help would be the route to go to find out if yes, it should be rest. I can go swimming for the next 2 weeks. I can introduce it back slowly. I need total rest. It's a really broad spectrum, and professional help, I think, there would be the most valuable.
You mean like a doctor, a physical therapist, or a trainer? Or
a physiotherapist. A trainer, depending on their level of I mean, you do have physical therapists there who are also personal trainers. I wouldn't give you that information because I don't feel like I'm qualified enough. I would want you to go and see a doctor or a physiotherapist first.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about arthritis, because I know a lot of people have arthritis. I mean, in my yoga classes, sometimes like half the class will have arthritis, and yoga has been proven to help. And I'm sure it's similar with various types of strength training, that, you know, you want to keep moving, you want to keep the joint flexible and strong. Would you say for people with sort of, I don't know, low-grade arthritis, it's generally fine to be working out in a gym, or again, they want to go to their doctor first? Or
I would generally say that it's good to continue working out. I think that the doctor's advice would be a good thing as well. But on a day when they're not suffering from any pain in any particular area, absolutely. Keep on moving.
Right.
Again, the doctor may advise you that maybe it's because you have arthritis in your knees, no high intensity movements.
Yeah.
So there, in the strength training would be very helpful to keep the muscles and surrounding areas strong. Something like swimming that doesn't cause impact. Again, also depending on the amount of time you have, professional help is always a good thing in that case.
Yeah. I mean,
in that scenario.
And low impact versus high impact, generally more, generally safer for especially older people, right?
I would
Walking
say
versus
so,
running.
But you will always have the person who's doing marathons in their 60s.
Yeah, that's true. And being fine.
But then you will have a 40-year-old who will run for 3 miles and their knees will hurt them. Every individual is different.
Absolutely.
And which is why a trainer has to treat every individual as a different. You can't just have a broad workout that you give everybody.
No, absolutely. Everybody is different. Everybody is different. There's almost no rule that applies to everybody, I find.
And again, some people will need more flexibility in their workout than another person because they are particularly tight, and that tightness is actually causing them injuries.
Yeah.
So all of those things that would be a pro to having a personal trainer, somebody who can actually select your workout in a way that is really going to benefit you with any individual problem you might have.
Okay. And I have to ask you this too, because I know your answer already, but and as a yoga teacher, I mean, stretching after strength training, or just stretching in general, super important, right?
For me, it
and
is.
How long? Because again, and I hate to, to beat up on gyms, but you go to an average class, you lift all these heavy weights, strength training, and then you stretch for literally, 3 minutes at the end. You hold each stretch for 2 seconds and you're done, which infuriate me, but I don't know. I mean, would you agree that it's super important that 3 minutes, a 3-second stretch is really not doing anything?
Well, let me speak from my personal experience. Each of my clients gets a 10-minute stretch at the end. Some of that is assisted by me, some of it is instructed by me. It's very rarely any less than 10 minutes, and that's a minimum.
No, that's
and I'm
great.
pretty sure if I don't do that, they're not going to go home and do that. But for me, you don't need to be stretching for 3 hours a day, but 15, 20, if you can find time for as much as 30 minutes, you're going to reap the benefits.
Okay.
Anybody.
Yeah. And what would you say are the benefits?
Just generally, I think it helps to, according to my clients, because I stretch and they don't get so sore at the end of or after a workout. So I don't know what the scientific data is out there, but even using myself as a guinea pig, I think my recovery from my workout is better when I stretch properly.
And your flexibility. I mean, it improves
your ability to move.
Right.
You go from somebody who could barely move your neck around to somebody who has relaxed, no more headaches, no more tension in the shoulders, just from doing a few minutes of stretching a day. You can achieve that.
Yeah. Because my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that when you lift weights, it tightens up your muscles.
Correct.
So you need to stretch them out
You need to
in order.
balance it at the end.
Right. You need to balance it out with stretching to keep the flexibility in the muscle in the joint. Right. That's correct.
Absolutely.
Right.
And if you can find time for a yoga class or 2 a week, or do a few yoga poses on your own, or some stretches, some dancing stretches, whatever it is, it's beneficial.
Yeah, well, there's so much overlap in between. I mean, yoga stretches, your stretches, dance stretches. I mean, a lot of them are
so
they're
much the same.
identical.
Exactly.
Yes, they're physical
Exactly.
therapy things. You know, they're super similar. Okay, so stretching, very important. People should be doing it. I mean, I know if I don't do it, I start to feel all achy.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
my shoulders, my hips, if I don't stretch, I just start to be like, what is going on? I'm having all these aches and pains. And then I stretch and, you know, like magic, they're gone.
Didn't I do that before?
Yeah, I mean, that's not true for every single ache and pain you're going to get, but a lot of times.
It's very helpful.
A lot of times
Very
it is.
helpful.
Especially in this culture where we're sitting, we're in front of the computer, we're on the phone, we're like this, you know what I mean? You
It's
just need
probably even more
to stretch
important.
out your back and, you know, do some kind of stretching, especially if you're doing strength training.
Absolutely. I wouldn't say even if you're doing strength training, I would say anybody and everybody.
Okay. So do you have any tips for people who may be just starting out? You know, they're a little bit intimidated. They know they should be doing some kind of strength training, but they don't know how to start. They're you know, they don't have a lot of time. How would you suggest that they go about just getting started, or, you know, even doing something at home?
I would suggest that, again, if you can't afford a train or you can't afford to go to a gym, search the internet, find something that is at a level that you can manage. You said this in one of your earlier Wednesdays, you know, finding things you enjoy is really important, but I need you also to remember that not all strength training is going to be super fun. Put on some fun music.
Right.
Put on some
Make it fun.
Make it fun.
Right.
Put
Make
on
it fun.
clothes that you look like you're going to work out in, and make it your time.
Right.
You know, this
Yeah.
is my time to look after myself. And remember that at the end of the day, it's going to benefit you in years to come. Think of it as very inexpensive health insurance.
I like that. Yeah.
It is.
Absolutely.
Absolutely is. You can look at two people that you've never met before. They're both 80 years old, and you can see which one has been active and which one hasn't been. It's so obvious.
Yeah. It's like spend your money on prevention rather than on
cure.
on
Absolutely.
doctors and medicine and
Absolutely. That
hospital
is-
bills. I think there's another way to say that, but you get the idea, right?
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Start now. You know, don't put it off. It's real. Just keep, you know, getting that information and educating yourself.
Okay, so to switch up the subject slightly, you know, food, what we eat, our diet is all wrapped up in this whole subject. And I mean, lots of, well, women especially, but men too, are very concerned with losing weight, being a certain size. You know, I mean, and that's why they feel like cardio. I got to run to burn off those
calories.
Right. So I guess you're saying strength training can do it all. But what's your overall philosophy about like the role that food plays in wellness? And well, answer that first, and then I have a question that's kind of following up to that.
You know, it's interesting. I'm glad that I have the knowledge of 20 plus years of being a trainer, because I think I have seen my clients try every diet, and that word diet is so misused.
Yes.
It's actually supposed to be a way of living.
Here.
It's not supposed to be something you do periodically.
Right, exactly.
And I've seen people rely on high carb, high protein, fasting, juicing, and detoxing. You know, they've different methods, and you know what? They all lose weight, and you know what? They all put it back on. And to me, that's not successful weight loss. Food should be our nurturing medicine. It should be our gas. It should be our fuel. It should be enjoyable. But it's going to give you back what you give it. What you put in your body is what your body is going to give you back. That's how I look at it. And I'm very mindful, and I try to teach my clients to be mindful about what they're eating at the time. What is this food going to do to me? Is it going to give me energy? Is it going to give me repair? Do I really need this? Does it really taste? Are the calories worth it? Is this piece of chocolate cake really good that I'm going to consume 400 calories? If it's not, throw it away.
But it's yummy.
But if it isn't yummy, but so many times we eat something that isn't yummy, or it's only a little yummy. You know,
because we eat for so many different reasons. We're not just eating because we're hungry. Sometimes we eat because we're depressed and lonely and we're bored, or
be mindful
whatever.
About what you eat. Think of food as your nurturing medicine. Think of food as your fuel.
Yeah,
that's my mindset. I truly believe in moderation. I don't believe that anything done to any extreme is gonna be good. And I've seen it. I've seen the proof of the pudding time and time and time again.
No, I totally 100% agree. But so the next question is something we've talked about before too, and my husband and I are always fighting about this. So I think you know what I'm coming with. If you're trying to lose weight, is it more important to increase your exercise, or is it more important to change what you're eating? I mean, I personally believe in it's both, but anyway, let me ask you, what do you think is more important?
That one is a very difficult one to answer, and I wouldn't say that either. I would tend to go with your philosophy. I don't think either is more important. Increasing exercise, yes, to a certain point, but that can also be dangerous. You may get to a point of over-exercising, you end up injured, and then you're back at square one, or in reverse, you're going backwards. Whereas food is actually something that is very much in your control. And just being careful about what you eat can have so many benefits in so many different ways, not just in weight loss. You know, yes, weight loss. I would almost go to the point of saying that food is probably the more important factor.
Yeah. Well,
monitoring what you're eating.
Yeah.
Or changing your lifestyle of eating totally and completely.
Yeah, I mean, the research that I've been doing, I've been doing a lot of research on this lately, is it shows that your diet is actually more important. I mean, exercise is super important for lots of reasons, but if you're talking about, okay, I want to lose weight, your diet is actually plays a larger role in your losing weight than does just exercising more. In other words, you can't just eat the same and say, okay, I'm going to now, I need to lose 10 pounds, so I'm going to now exercise 5 times a week instead of 2. I mean, I don't know, maybe that does work for some people, and it may, but it really...
Well, the period of time that you're doing the extra exercise for, you probably would lose some weight. But then you would stop, and you would either go backwards, or you would, again, just come to a standstill. And the thing
it's not sustainable, right?
It's not sustainable, and our bodies are a little bit ungrateful when it comes to exercise. When we get used to a certain level of exercise, and we stop, or we back off.
Doesn't like that.
It does not like that. And people will find, and this is calories in, calories out is also a very big role. So if you've upped your exercise to 500 calories a day, and you stop and you're still eating the same amount of food, then there's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So it's about, I think balance is such a good word, moderation is such a good word. It covers exercise, it covers your food, it covers the way you live.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people you have to do both. You have to do both.
You have to do both,
You have
absolutely.
to be mindful of what you're eating, and you need to move your body. You need to do exercise. I mean, losing weight or not losing weight, you just, for a healthy lifestyle, you need to be doing doing both, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so you sound like you're not a fan of juicing and detoxing and keto diet and all these fads. I mean, the argument for them, because, I like to examine the whole issue, is that they say when you do a detox or you go on keto, you lose lots of weight and you use it as a kickoff to start out your healthy lifestyle, right? Which, I mean, I think it probably could work for some people. You do it for a couple, I have a friend who's doing it and she's lost a lot of weight, and I tell her, you need to have a plan for when you stop doing this keto diet, because what's going to happen after you stop doing this keto diet? I mean, I personally don't think it's a great idea because of what the diet is all about, but it does work for some people to kick off their healthy lifestyle or their new way of eating. I mean, in your experience, has that worked? Does that make sense to you?
I think your advice to your friend is excellent. The problem is that when people do those diets that cut out food groups, is that what tends to happen, or what I have seen happen, is their cravings and desire for that food becomes so great that when they stop, the plan for the healthy lifestyle goes through the door, because they are now craving and eating huge quantities of these things that they had deprived themselves from before.
Yeah.
Whereas if you had just trimmed everything else back all at once, made your carbs healthier carbs, scaled them back a little bit, looked at the kind of meat you were eating. Should you be eating more fish? Should you be eating more chicken? Should you have some vegetarian days? If you do that overall picture, our body needs all food groups. So even if for 2 weeks we take out carbs, our body's missing that energy food. We need that energy just to get up in the morning and
not to mention the vitamins and minerals that are in those
so
foods.
We are removing things that our body requires. So, this is obviously my personal opinion, but what I have seen with my clients is that generally when they do these things, they lose weight and they gain weight after.
Yeah, which is so...
It's not sustainable. Even those who have these great plans to make it the kickoff.
So it doesn't really work out that way.
No, it doesn't tend to work out that way. You have the odd person who does, but it's not very often you see it happen.
Yeah. So it sounds like you kind of agree with one of our key principles here at Banyan Tribe, which is you got to find things that you enjoy. You got to find exercise you enjoy. You got to find good food that you enjoy. It's all about enjoying your way to wellness.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I really,
There's going to be days that you don't feel like going for the exercise. But you don't really have an excuse. You go and you do it. It's not going to be the perfect workout, the perfect day. But at the end of the day, you're going to be like, you know what? I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. And that in itself is going to give you joy.
Yeah. And I always tell people too, it doesn't have to be running, jogging, cycling.
No,
it can be dancing.
not.
It can be gardening. It can be whatever, any form of movement almost can be considered exercise. I mean, obviously some are, after a while you do need to challenge yourself, right? But I mean, even just walking up and down the driveway for 20 minutes counts,
absolutely.
Right?
And everything is relative. If you're doing nothing, if you're sedentary, you're sitting at a desk all day, that 20 minutes up and down the driveway is huge.
Yeah.
To start.
Yeah.
The 3-pound weight is huge for the elderly person who could not sit up or stand up easily. Just doing a few exercises enable them to that's a huge positive step forward.
Yeah.
It's all relative to the individual.
And actually the research supports that even just a very short time can have a big impact on the body. I read something the other day that said even like 5 minutes of exercise can make a difference.
Zero,
but
sure.
not that it's just better than zero. It actually can make a significant difference to your health.
Absolutely.
But just 5 minutes or less, any kind of movement, and anything that's basically not sitting, even probably standing up is better than sitting down. I mean, just standing up, right? Which is, I guess, why these standing desks.
Just putting on a CD and moving to some music, or I guess CDs are obsolete, but just putting on some music.
You're giving away our age now, Rachel.
And just jamming a little to music is better than sitting and doing nothing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And as Karin said, exercise doesn't have to be going to a gym and lifting weights. It can be gardening. It can be going for a swim, 2-3 times a week, enjoying it. It's all relative to what you're doing and to what your lifestyle allows you to do.
Okay. Well, Rachel, I have to thank you so much for spending time with me today. This has been so fun. And I'm going to put your contact information down in the comments below so if people want to contact you, they know how to find you, although I know you're super busy already. But I just want to say thank you so much. This has been very, very helpful. And I think, we've discussed some really important points. And you guys, please tell us what you think. If you have any questions, I'm sure I can get Rachel back here to answer them. If you have any questions on anything that we've talked about before, give us your comments, give us your feedback. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks a lot.